Good morning, dear friends. Very good morning. Today we are going to start the practical demonstration of properties of acetic acid. Students, what is the molecular formula of acetic acid? You know. CH3, CH2, COOH. This is the molecular formula of acetic acid. CH3, CH2, COOH, and we can write it as C2H5, COOH. COOH means carboxylic group. COOH means the carboxylic group, and this is the right molecular formula of acetic acid. Today, acetic acid is used in so many foodstuffs like the jellies and jams and pickles, and as a preservative, acetic acid is used. Acetic acid is used, but that acetic acid is very dilute in all the preservative. Do you know the vinegar? During the cake making, vinegar is used. Vinegar is used, and vinegar is nothing but the 4% acetic acid that we call as ethanoic acid also. But when you read the ingredients of vinegar, vinegar is used in the preparation of cakes in a lockdown during the pandemic. Many people making the cake at home and they are putting the vinegar in that. Vinegar is nothing but 4% acetic acid. And students, why the acetic acid is not harmful to us? Because acetic acid is very dilute in that form. Students, we are going to learn the physical and chemical properties of acetic acid. See, this is the bottle of acetic acid. No doubt, acetic acid is a pure form acid, and 99.5% acetic acid is called as glacial acetic acid. त्यालाच आपण glacial acetic acid असं म्हणत असतो. Today we are going to demonstrate. I am going to demonstrate, and I am taking the experiment to study the different properties of acetic acid or ethanoic acid. Student, first of all, the order of the acetic acid. First of all, we are going to learn what are the ingredients and what are the chemicals and what are the requirements of this experiment. The requirements of this experiment is test tube stand and dry test tube stands, dry test tubes, then test tube holder to hold the test tube holder, then litmus papers, blue litmus paper and red litmus paper. For the litmus test, litmus is used. Then freshly prepared lime water solution, that is CaOH twice. Then distilled water. This is beaker of borosilicate glass. Usually the equipment of laboratory is made up of borosilicate glass, distilled water, and the chemical is acetic acid. The first property of acetic acid is order. The first physical property of acetic acid is order. How is the order? I am taking the few drops of acetic acid. I am taking the few drops of acetic acid in a very dry test tube. The test tube should be dry because to avoid any contamination or the proper results, the test tube should be dry. I am taking the few drops of test tube. I am taking the few drops of acetic acid in a test tube. See, this is the pipette. Whenever there is acid solution, we have to take the pipette to avoid the inhale of acids. I am taking few drops of acetic acid in the test tube. And the first physical property of acetic acid is, how is the smell? I am taking the smell. One should take the smell not close to the nose. And the smell of acetic acid is pungent. And the odor of acetic acid is pungent. This is the first property of acetic acid. I am putting this test tube in a test tube stand. Then the second property is solubility in water. Is the acetic acid is soluble in water or not? For testing, take again the test tube. Take the test tube. Take the test tube and take the distilled water. I am pouring the distilled water in a test tube. I am holding the test tube by the test tube holder, and 6 to 7 ml of water is distilled water is taken in a test tube, and then I am pouring a few drops of acetic acid in a test tube. Is the acetic acid is miscible in water? The precaution should be taken during the mixing of acetic acid in water, because the density of acetic acid, I am shaking the test tube, is the observe, students observe, is the acetic acid is miscible in water or not? Yes, the mixture is homogeneous and not the settlement of particle at the bottom of the test tube. That's why the second property of acetic acid, solubility in water, the acetic acid is soluble in water. This is our second physical property. Then I am putting this test tube in a test tube stand. Then the third property, blue litmus paper and red litmus paper. See the litmus paper, students. I have red litmus paper and blue litmus paper for testing the litmus test. Students, litmus test is made up of lichen. You will have the practical at home. From the hibiscus flower extract, you can prepare a red litmus paper at home. And hibiscus flowers are available everywhere, and you can do that practical at home also. Take the filter paper and extract of hibiscus. So I am taking acetic acid, few drops of acetic acid for the litmus test. Few drops of water also, and I am taking the blue litmus paper, the blue litmus paper strip. Here this is the strip of blue litmus paper, and I am dipping the blue litmus paper in a solution. What will happen? Students, observe. I have taken the blue litmus paper and the blue litmus paper turns red. That is, the given solution is acid and acetic acid is a weak acid. And then I am taking the red litmus paper. Student, See the red litmus paper. What will happen when we put the red litmus paper in acid? First of all, I am putting the red litmus paper in the water and I am taking the red litmus paper taste. See, the red litmus paper retains red. Are you observing? The red litmus paper retains red. That is, this is not a base. The given solution is acid and acetic acid is a weak acid. The next reaction is reaction with sodium bicarbonate. See, I have taken the sodium bicarbonate powder, that is NaHCO3, in a petri dish. See, this is the petri dish and the powder of sodium bicarbonate, the white color powder. Students, your home, the baking soda is used in all the idlis and dosas and uttappas, and you may use in a cakes also. The sodium bicarbonate is a baking soda and it is very useful to make the substances fluffy, and that is why it is user friendly substance. NaHCO3, sodium bicarbonate. Students, I am taking another clean and dry test tube. I am taking another clean and dry test tube and I am putting the few drops of acetic acid. What will happen? You have to observe what will happen and which gas is evolved from this reaction. See, I am taking the few drops of acetic acid with the help of pipette and I am pouring few drops of acetic acid in a test tube. Look at the test tube, students, and whenever there is a reaction between acetic acid and sodium bicarbonate, the molecular formula of sodium bicarbonate is NaHCO3. Minute observation is important here. Put a pinch of sodium bicarbonate powder. See the effervescence. See, look at the effervescence. Minute observation is important. The effervescence are there. Look at the test tube. The effervescence of gas. That gas is nothing but the carbon dioxide gas. Whenever reaction takes place between the acetic acid and sodium bicarbonate, see the effervescence. Clearly, the effervescence are seen in a test tube, and that gas is called as carbon dioxide gas, and carbon dioxide gas evolved, and when the carbon dioxide gas is treated with freshly prepared lime water. See, this is the freshly prepared lime water. I am taking the lime water in the test tube. I am taking the lime water in a test tube and the gas is, I am pouring the solution of that effervescence, and that effervescence are nothing but the evolution of carbon dioxide gas, and when the reaction and when the carbon dioxide gas passes through that solution, the lime water turns milky. Freshly prepared lime water is taken. See, the lime water turns milky. The lime water turns milky. The freshly prepared lime water is taken, and whenever the reaction takes place between sodium bicarbonate and acetic acid, the carbon dioxide is evolved, and that gas, when passes through the lime water, the freshly prepared lime water solution is there, and the reaction takes place between the carbon dioxide and freshly prepared lime water, and the solution becomes milky. See the reaction. See the reaction. Reaction with fresh lime water. Whenever calcium oxide, the lime water solution is nothing but, see, this is the lime water solution, freshly prepared lime water solution. The molecular formula of lime water solution is calcium oxide, CaOH twice. The valency of calcium is 2. That's why in the molecular formula 2 is written as this OH twice, and 2 molecules of hydroxyl molecules are attached to the calcium hydroxide and carbon dioxide. The reaction takes place and OH twice, OH from this, the water is for, look at the diagram, OH are the 2 molecules at which the water is for, and the one atom of oxygen combines with the carbon dioxide and carbonate is 4, and calcium carbonate CaCO3 plus carbon dioxide gas is evolved. CaOH twice, lime water plus carbon dioxide, these are the reactants, and reactants react with each other to form calcium carbonate and carbon dioxide gas is evolved. So this is the chemical reaction, and you have to write the perfect molecular formula and the writing method, reactants and products in the examination. Students, we studied the properties and we conclude that the first physical property is odor. The acetic acid have a pungent smell, odor. That is why acetic acid have pungent odor like a vinegar. Then solubility we check. The acetic acid is soluble in water. Acetic acid is soluble in water, mixable in water. That we conclude that acetic acid is soluble in water. Then we conclude that red litmus paper retains red and blue litmus paper retains red. That's why acetic acid is a weak acid by the litmus test. We can use the litmus solution also. Students, here I am using the litmus paper, but in this experiment, the freshly prepared litmus solutions are also used to check, to conclude the reactions. And then the fourth chemical property is reaction with sodium bicarbonate. Sodium bicarbonate, the molecular formula of sodium bicarbonate is NaHCO3. NaHCO3, white colored powder is there, NaHCO3. And reaction between the sodium bicarbonate and acetic acid takes place, CH3COOH plus NaHCO3. The reaction takes place and the carbon dioxide gas is evolved, and carbon dioxide gas is evolved from this reaction. Student, remember the memory enhancement trick. Whenever there is a carbonate in a chemical reaction, definitely the carbon dioxide is evolved from that reaction. Whenever there is a carbonate in the chemical reactions, in a reactant, definitely from that carbonate group, the carbon dioxide is evolved. See, sodium bicarbonate, this is the carbonate group, and whenever there is a carbonate, the carbon dioxide is evolved from the chemical reaction. And the last chemical reaction we have done, the reaction with freshwater lime solution. In the fourth chemical reaction, the carbon dioxide is evolved, and when that carbon dioxide gas is passed when that carbon dioxide gas is passed through the lime water turns milky. Freshly prepared lime water, when we passes the carbon dioxide prepared in the fourth reaction, the lime water turns milky, and that's why we conclude that whenever there is a reaction with the carbon dioxide, then calcium carbonate is formed, and students, we can conclude that acetic acid is a weak acid, and the physical properties of acetic acids and chemical properties of acetic acid we learned, and you have to write the experiment and the observation table. In the observation table, test, observation and inference, like that you have to write in your journal or the practical manual. Observation table should be in a tabular form, and you have to write the observation table on a blank page in your journal or a practical manual. And in that observation table, the test, observation and inference. Inference means conclusion. Inference. Like that, you have to write in such a tabular form. In your practical manual or in your journal, and write the date 22nd September, and write it in your, if you have no journal, first of all you write this experiment in your classwork notebook, and study the conclusions and different physical properties of acetic acid. Students, why the acetic acid is also said to be the glacial acetic acid? Whenever acetic acid cools, the crystals like the ice are formed, and that's why acetic acid in a coldest form is also called as the glacial acetic acid. So I hope you remember the molecular formula and the reactions and aim, requirement, chemicals, observation and conclusion. And students, for the competitive examination, the acetic acid and the uses of acetic acid and the reactions with acetic acid are used, and the functional group of acetic acid is a carboxylic acid, that is RCOOH. This all over study is very important. So you like this experiment? Yes. So study hard, and science is a minute observation of each and every object, and when I demonstrate, I remember. So remember this and write it in your practical manual. Thank you. Next time we will see the experiment of biology. Have a nice day.
Okay, काही प्रश्न आलेत.